then why did the board approve the charter for another 20 years last June when there was substantial evidence this charter was failing?
Well, I think what you call evidence and what we call evidence are different things as far as what we have to prove to close a charter school down. And we were in the process of getting those findings in order to revoke them if that was what the process was. So we were aware of that, and we're in process with the Attorney General's office and with ADE to investigate that. And I think we didn't start this when they closed. We were already in process months before they closed.
So you're in process months before, you approved it months before, yet there were warnings as far back as over a year ago this school was in danger of shutting down. You know what a going concern warning is.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest red flags there is, isn't it?
It is, and we were in process of investigating that. Remember that the charter is a contract and gives that charter a property right. So we can't just simply revoke them. We have to have findings, legal findings, in order to revoke them. And so we were in the process of obtaining those findings. And we had the auditors from the Department of Education going out to audit their ADMs, which we thought were wrong. And we also
Were they wrong?
We're waiting to hear back from ADE.
They only had 100 kids when they closed.
Exactly. And so that's one of the things that we identified months ago that we were asked ADE to investigate for us.
So folks watching this are going to hear months ago, we were all over this, and yet in June they were approved for another 20 years. Wasn't there anything you could do to not do that?
Part of the problem is we don't have A through F grades yet. And so we're waiting for those to become final.
What does that mean?
It means that we don't have those from the State Board of Education in order to use as one of our metrics for closing them.
So even though they are flunking financially, you're saying there's nothing you could have done without some letter grades?
I'm saying no, we need findings, legal findings, in order to close them. And we did not have those at that time. And we initiated an investigation following that.
Couldn't you have delayed the approval of a new charter permit?
At that time, no, we cannot.
What were the options on the table at that June meeting?
One of the options was to withhold 10% of their monies coming from the state, which we did, because we did identify that there was a problem, and so we initiated the 10% withholding at that time.
So what do you tell parents out there, taxpayers out there, who are saying, hang on, they got more money, I don't know, a couple million. The owner of the school pulled $1 million out, and you had evidence of that, didn't you?
Not to my understanding. I would have to go back and look at that to be able to answer that.
He pulls $1 million out. Aren't these red flags that should tell you, stop, we can't let this go on any longer?
We're working on that right now.
Is that the best answer? Because there are teachers out there who, because this was renewed in June, they were hired in July and later in June, and they're out of a job, and they can't even collect unemployment insurance.
My heart goes out to them, but there's nothing this board can legislate or to do to go after bad actors. In the history of the board, I think in the last 10 years, they told me only 5 schools in 10 years have ever pulled this egregious act. So I don't think that we can, as a board, legislate for someone that's just a bad actor in the community. And so I absolutely feel for those teachers and those students, and we're going to do everything we can to make it right with them.
It's not legislating for bad actors. This was a company going down the drain, and you're saying there's nothing you could do. Something like this will likely happen again, won't it?
I don't think so. I think when we have...
These are businesses. It's going to happen again.
We knew that there was a problem. We acted and withheld 10% of their money, and we initiated investigations on them. Let's go back to the board needs to have legal findings in order to act on these schools, and we were in the process of doing that. This guy, this bad actor, just chose to close his doors before we could do it for him, and we did that today.
In retrospect, would you have shut this school down in June if you could have?
Absolutely. Absolutely, but unfortunately we didn't have the legal findings that we need as a board to do that.
Can you tell taxpayers that you are confident there are no more Discovery Cremoses out there, no more Bradleys out there just waiting to go bust?
I think, that's a loaded question because you don't know what bad actors are going to do because they're doing everything they can to game the system. We are committed to identifying those schools, and we are committed to going after them. And we're committed with the new rules process that we're going to initiate to create a system that is able to act faster to get those findings to close those schools.